was back when the Club Q shooting happened in Colorado Springs. And it seemed to really fit for that moment, and it's both an emotional song and one that is full of hope too. And I hope that it resonates with you as much as it does with me. This is called Plowshare Prayer, and it's by Spencer LaJoy.
Dear blessed Creator, dear Mother, dear Savior, dear Father, dear Brother, dear Holy Other, dear sibling, dear baby, dear patiently waiting, dear sad and confused, dear stuck and abused, dear end of your rope, dear worn out and broke, dear go it alone, dear running from home, dear righteously angry, forsaken by family, dear jaded and quiet, dear tough and defiant, I pray that I'm heard, and I pray that this works. I pray if a prayer has been used as a sword against you and your heart, against you and your word, I pray that this prayer is a plowshare of swords, that it might break you open, it might help you grow. I pray that your body gets all that it needs, and if you don't want healing, I just pray for peace. I pray that your burden gets lighter each day. I pray the mean voice in your head goes away. I pray that you honor the grief as it comes. I pray you can feel all the life in your lungs. I pray that if you go all day being brave, that you can go home, go to bed feeling safe. I pray you're forgiven. I pray you forgive. I pray you set boundaries and openly live. I pray that you feel you are never worth leaving. I pray that you know I will always believe you. I pray that you're heard, and I pray that this works. Amen. On behalf of the last and the least, on behalf of the anxious, depressed and unseen, amen for the workers, the hungry, the houseless, amen for the lonely and recently spouseless, amen for the queers and their closeted peers, amen for the bullied who hold in their tears, amen for the mothers of little black sons, amen for the kids who grow up scared of guns, amen for the addicts ashamed and hungover, amen for the calloused, the wise and the sober, amen for the ones who want life to be over, amen for the leaders who lose their composure, amen for the parents who just lost their baby, amen as a sword against you and your heart, against you and your word. I pray that this prayer is a plowshare of swords.
Beautiful. Beautifully done. Thank you, thank you. Hi, everybody. Welcome to our new space. What do you think? It's kind of big, but we can, let's just imagine this is filled. Yes? We're in this big space. Let's just know that it's filled, and we're moving in that direction of filling it. Yes, okay. So Spencer LaJoy, the song that Julie just sang, what a profound song. That song was inspired, so Spencer, I read an interview that when Spencer wrote the song, that they were inspired by the biblical idea of turning weapons into plowshares as a metaphor for peace. And so the song is about honoring this earthly walk that we are all on, which can be a little hard at times, yes? And honoring, what I love about the song, though, is it's about honoring our humanity, honoring who we are and all that we have to face, honoring all of it, and praying that we will overcome, praying that we will overcome all that we have to face in this life and experience peace. You know, there are many across the U.S. and the world this past week who are celebrating. And there also are many who are heartbroken and are in tremendous pain and grief. I talked to quite a few people this week who are having a heck of a time with the results of the election. Our nation, unfortunately, is divided, not united. Yes? We are not a united nation, not yet. I came up with this talk title. It's interesting how things unfold. You know, I came up with this title a while back, Opening to Divine Grace, and isn't it interesting that Spirit said this is the title for today, the Sunday after the election, so I think it's perfect. Opening to Divine Grace. Divine grace is a stream of love, a stream of peace and joy and an abundance of all good things from Spirit. And it is always present, it is always available to us. It's the divine's nature to give. It doesn't know how to do anything else other than give. The only thing that we need to do as human beings is to receive, is to open ourselves to receive, to slow down enough to even notice when divine grace is showing up. Divine grace is right here in this moment. Do you feel it? It's right here. Right here. It's always present, actually, but our mind is going so fast in so many directions that we miss it. We miss the divine grace that shows up. I bet that if I went around and asked each of you, did you experience divine grace in some way this past week? Many of you might say, I'm not sure, I don't know. Maybe. But if you went back and looked, you wouldn't have to look hard. Because I bet that many of you received some inspiring quote or passage in your inbox or on your Facebook feed, or some inspiring, heart-opening song showed up in your YouTube feed, Or perhaps you gathered with like-minded souls and connected and hugged each other up and loved each other up this week. Or maybe you just had an insight. Some kind of insight that touched you, that opened you, that for a moment, just a moment, brought you peace, made you feel connected to the greater all, to the all that is, just for a moment. Yes? As you look back at your week, did some of you experience divine grace in some one way or another? Yes. We believe in the science of mind that God is everywhere present, that God is in all things, all situations, all circumstances. God is in the conflict. God is in every war. God is in every breath. There is no place where God is not. We know this, yes? So this means that God is in all things, the beauty, the magnificence of life, and also the hard stuff. That thing in your life that you are feeling maybe a little hopeless about, that thing in your life that you're feeling a little anxious about, maybe a lot anxious about, the divine lives there too. The divine is in the midst of all of it. Divine grace is there. Wherever the divine is, divine grace is also there. You know, at some point in our spiritual journey, we have all asked questions of Spirit. God, why is this happening in the world? If there is a God, why is there still suffering? If there is a God, why is there not just peace across our land? Well, here's the thing. God is not in charge. We grew up thinking that God was in charge. Yes, we all grew up thinking that God was in charge, but God is not in charge. Yes, the divine is a powerful presence in our lives and on this incredible universe. Yes, it is powerful. However, we are in charge. We are in charge. We get to decide the kind of life that we want to live. We get to decide the kind of world that we want to live in and be a part of. We get to decide as a collective whether peace is possible or not. I said several weeks ago that when we believe that peace is possible, peace will be possible. It starts with us. We have to believe that it's possible. I heard recently that when the consciousness of humanity, when it raises to a certain level, a certain frequency, when 30% of the population raises its frequency and vibration, it has a tipping point. The rest of the population then feels that vibration and also raises to match it. Now, I don't know if this is true, but it's a pretty cool thing to think about, isn't it? Now, how they measure that, I have no idea. But I suspect that if that were true, let's just say it is. That means that we have power. That says to me that we have power to raise the frequency and the vibration of this planet. If we don't like what's happening in the world, if we don't like what's happening in the United States, we actually have the power to change it. Now, we can't change the election. There are certain things we cannot change. We cannot change something difficult happening in our life. We can't not change that thing. But what we can do, we have control. We do have some control. We can control how we respond to what is happening. Yes? So we are more powerful than we realize because we can change how we respond to it. That means we can change our perspective. That means we can change the lens that we are looking through. We get to do that. No one can tell us how we should see the world or how we should show up in the world. We get to decide that. You know, the divine has never left our side. It's as though the divine is it's got its hand out here, if it had hands. It's got its hand out here, reaching out to us, to grab a hold of us, to remind us of the power that we have, to remind us that we are more capable than we realize. You know, as a group, as a collective, we can make a difference. I talk about this a lot because it's important, I think, for all of us to remember that. Sometimes we think, oh, my little self, there's nothing that I can do that actually is going to make an impact. But as we talked about this in our book study this week, as we raise our frequency and our vibration, as we choose to claim and know our divinity, as we open ourselves to divine grace, do you think that has an impact on everybody around us? Do you think that has an impact on the planet? Yes, it does. You heard it here. We're very emotional creatures, are we not? Our emotions are extraordinary. They're beautiful. It's what makes us human. And they're also incredibly hard and painful sometimes. Some of you experienced some hard emotions this week and are still experiencing some hard emotions. It's really, really important that you honor whatever it is that you are feeling. The anger, the frustration, the upset, the sadness, the despair, the hopelessness, all of it. Because we cannot move through something unless we are willing to feel it. And you know, in spiritual communities, we get this idea that we have to bypass, that we have to rush to hope and we have to rush to peace. And yes, it's a good idea to rush to hope and to peace, but not too soon. Because we do ourselves a disservice by not honoring what we are feeling. And then we just shove it down. And then it comes out sideways. At some other point, at somebody else, or in some other way that's not so productive. So we have to feel what's there, to give ourselves full permission. You know, there's always something that is being revealed. Ernest Holmes would say, healing is revealing. So when we are in a healing crisis, whether individually, as a community, or as a nation, as a world, there is something that wants to be revealed. Think about that. What wants to be revealed to you, through that thing that you are experiencing right now in your life, that thing that is hard? What wants to be revealed to you and through you as a nation right now, through us as a nation? What if we trusted that divine grace is in all of it? What if we trusted that no matter, despite what is happening in our lives, despite what we are seeing in the world, that divine grace is in all of it? That there is something that is rising up from that thing, whatever that thing is. Now, we may not know what that is, we can't see what that is, but it's our job as spiritual beings to know, with a capital K, to know that something beautiful and amazing is rising from that thing, whatever that is. That's where we get to choose. We have the power to choose. That's a gift that we've all been given. We can choose to know and to trust that despite what is going on out here, that there is something extraordinary that is rising from it. That's amazing that we get to choose that. Now, we may have to choose it in every moment. One moment, I'm not feeling so hot. Okay, I'm going to choose it now. Okay, now I'm going to choose it again. Okay, I'm going to choose it again. It's okay, as long as we keep choosing. As long as we keep choosing. Anne Lamott said something really beautiful. She said, "I do not at all understand the mystery of grace, only that it meets us where we are, but does not leave us where it found us." Isn't that beautiful? I love this because it says that grace always shows up for us, that it meets us where we are at, but does not leave us where it found us. So in other words, grace is there showing us the way. It is showing us what next step to take. It is showing us the person we need to connect with. It is showing us some insight that we now need to ponder and think about. Grace is always there, showing us the way, showing us that next step, pulling us out of that hole that we have found ourselves in. But we have to get quiet enough to even know that grace is there. Divine grace showed up for me this week. A wonderful minister in our movement introduced me to the Center for Action and Contemplation, a beautiful organization founded by Richard Rohr. Some of you know Richard Rohr. Richard Rohr, extraordinary human being. He's a member of the Franciscan order. He's deeply inspired by the teachings of St. Francis of Assisi, and he is known for his Christian mystical work and writings. So I joined this newsletter, and now every day I get this beautiful message from him, a meditation, a quote, a writing that has touched my heart. That's divine grace. Yeah. One of the things that Richard Rohr talks about, he talks about how addictive our emotions can be. That it's good to have them, yes. However, sometimes our emotions can be the whole show. Yes? Got a laugh over there. Yeah, right? We can laugh at ourselves as humans. Come on, it's okay. Sometimes our emotions can be the whole show. So to him, what he talks about is contemplation, and how contemplation is a little more productive. And this makes sense, right? Because when we are contemplating something, we have distanced ourselves from it a little bit. And it brings us, contemplation helps to bring us deeper into awareness of what's going on in our life. Emotions pull us downward. That's what they do. Contemplation allows us to notice, to witness, to become aware, to observe. It helps us to slow down so that we can be in connection with divine grace. Richard Rohr talks about this idea of first gaze and second gaze. The first gaze is when we look at this thing that is happening in our world, in our life, and our first reaction usually is fear, upset, judgment, anger. That's first gaze, and we all are guilty of that. Some of you felt that this week. That's first gaze. And first gaze is connected to our false self, our small self. Our small self can't help but look at what's wrong with the world, look at what's wrong with our lives, look at what's going on that's not working or what's missing. That's the small self, the false self. The false self thinks the worst case scenarios, yeah? And it gets stuck in fear. It gets stuck there. The false self asks questions like, how will this affect me? What if questions come into the false self? What if my child doesn't figure this thing out? What if I run out of money? What if I lose my rights? What if we go to war as a country? The false self, all it can do is focus on the bad, the terrible, the what ifs, all of that. And in those moments when we are expressing the false self, we cannot access God. God is there. Divine grace is there, but we cannot access it because we can't feel it. In those moments, we shut ourselves off from divine grace. Novalee gets it. Thanks, Novalee. Mark Nepo said this: the amount of pain in life remains the same, exactly the same, but the amount of bitterness we taste depends on the container we put the pain in. So when you are in pain, the only thing you can do is to enlarge your sense of things. Stop being a glass, become a lake. Isn't that great? So when we are operating from the false self, it's like looking through the world through a pinhole. It's limited what we can see. It's extremely limited. The more we look through the eyes of fear, the more all we see is fear. The more we experience fear. Have you noticed that? And it doesn't mean we don't want to look at what's happening. It doesn't mean we want to bypass it or not look at it. But from a contemplative place, when we look at it from a contemplative place, we see so much more. We then have the ability to take a step back and to see things in a new light. Contemplation can actually be fun, because it shows us our limitations. It shows us, oh my God, there I go again. I have this distorted view of what I'm seeing over here. I have a limited view of what's happening in the world. And then we can make a choice. We can make a choice to see it differently. Mark Lucado said, grace is the voice that calls us to change and then gives us the power to pull it off. So grace is calling us to change. It's reminding us that we have the power to create a new life, a new world. We can expand the lens that we are looking through. So that situation in your life, that situation that feels like it's impossible to work through, that situation in the world that feels hopeless, are you willing to take a step back and to look at it through new eyes? That's what second gaze is. To take that step back and to look at it in a new way. Are you willing to choose love instead of fear? I talked about this a couple of weeks ago, and I think it bears repeating. And it sounds so simple, and really it is. But again, I'm not talking about love as in romantic love or even the feeling of love. I'm talking about profound divine love, which has a frequency that is beyond any love that we can express. So choosing love over fear. Are you willing even for a moment to choose love over fear? The moment we choose love, we are then aligned with Spirit. Immediately, we are aligned with divine grace. Love has the capacity to hold all things. When we open ourselves to love, we are immediately connected to divine grace. We are immediately aligned with it. And then how do you think it feels when you do that? You know. When you're in that feeling of love, when you're in that feeling of divine love versus fear, they can't even compare. Your whole being, your whole body, your heart, everything completely feels different. Feels different, doesn't it? Marianne Williamson said this: the spiritual journey is the unlearning of fear and the acceptance of love back into our hearts. It's opening to the flow of grace that was always here. So regardless of what is happening in our nation or in the world, are we willing to join together as a community and to choose love? You know, I follow a lot of different healers and astrologers and channelers. I watch a lot of different things. And you know, every single one of them is saying, love is the most important thing. Love is the most important thing that we could do right now. So I invite you to look for divine grace in your life, to take a step back, to look at the world in a new way, through new eyes, to open yourselves so that you can hold this world with a bigger container as opposed to looking through that tiny little pinhole. And then we will know, with a capital K, we will know that there is something more that is possible. There is something more that is possible. There is something that's going to rise from the ashes. We know this. We just have to keep believing it and keep looking for what is being revealed. Keep looking at what is underneath. What is underneath? Expanding our view. Are you with me? Are you willing to try it? So here's your homework. So you all should have gotten a little piece of paper with your homework for the week. This week's spiritual practice. All right. Here are the steps. First step, center and breathe. Begin by finding a quiet space, taking a few slow, deep breaths. Allow your awareness to settle into your heart. Feel any emotions present, sadness, hope, fear, or gratitude, without trying to change them. Simply allow them to be, as this acceptance opens the way for grace. Secondly, affirm divine grace. Repeat the following affirmations, silently or out loud. I am opening to divine grace in this moment. I am choosing love over fear, trusting that divine grace holds me and the world. Third step, notice and reflect. Throughout the week, pay attention to small moments of grace. This could be a comforting message, a moment of peace, an unexpected kindness, or an inner feeling of calm. At the end of each day, take a moment to reflect. Where did I experience grace today? Number 4, contemplate with second gaze. In any situation that stirs up fear and anger and sadness, take a step back. Try to view it with what Richard Rohr calls the second gaze, seeing with a broader perspective beyond immediate reactions. Ask yourself, how can I see this situation differently? And then number 5, join in collective prayer. Each day, hold in your heart the intention of peace and healing for yourself, for our nation, and for the world. Imagine our community coming together in love, amplifying a collective grace that ripples outward. You up for that? So as I close today, we're going to do something a little different. So instead of me praying, we are all going to pray together. We're going to be doing something called a chamber prayer. And a chamber prayer, basically what that is it's creating a safe, sacred space where the divine grace can pour in. So, you can pray however is comfortable for you. Some of you know the way we pray. We do affirmative prayers, which means that we state the prayer affirmatively. Whatever it is that in this prayer, by the way, this prayer is for our nation. This prayer is for the world, okay? When we pray affirmatively, we claim peace. We know peace. We affirm peace. We affirm inclusion and acceptance for all. So whatever it is that you would like our nation and our world to experience, that's what you want to affirm. And then you're just going to give thanks. You're going to give thanks knowing that it is already done. So don't worry about your neighbors hearing you. You're going to do this out loud, by the way, okay? Some of you are like, oh no. No one's going to, don't worry about your neighbor because they're just going to be focused on their stuff. No, this isn't about you. This is about our nation. This is about our world. So I'm going to ask everybody to stand, please. I'm going to ask you to take the hand of somebody next to you. So if you're not near somebody, scoot in so that everybody... Play some music behind. Okay. So let's just begin. Trust whatever comes through you. So in this moment, I recognize and know. I'm not hearing you. Everybody, come on, pray, pray, pray. Let me hear you. Right here, right now, I'm knowing that there is a presence of Spirit, that presence of God. And I just know that that presence is right here. I am knowing that that presence and that power is surrounding all things. It is surrounding our United States. It is creating a union. It is creating unity. It is creating connection. I am knowing that that presence and that power is touching and surrounding all beings. It is creating peace within all beings. I am knowing and affirming that there is something that is rising up out from all of the pain. I am knowing that there is something evolving, something growing, something expanding with each and every person. I am knowing that there is a healing taking place, that there is peace taking place, that there is a heart connection one to the other across our entire nation amongst every single leader. And so I just know and affirm this truth. I declare this truth right here, right now. I am knowing that we are all held and surrounded in the arms of Spirit right here in this very moment and beyond. And that every person is guided to whatever it is that they need that will support their healing and their transformation. And I give thanks for this. I give thanks knowing that this is already so. Before I ever began to speak these words, that this was already true. This was already taking place. And so, with great gratitude, I release this. I hand this over to Spirit. Spirit always says yes. Always says yes. And so it is. And so keeping your eyes closed, just feel in this moment the energy of love that is here. Feel that divine grace. And say silently to yourself, I am opening to divine grace. Say to yourself, I am choosing love. I am choosing peace. I am choosing hope for my life. I am choosing hope for our nation and for the world. Divine grace is here now. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you, life. And so it is. You may be seated.
Trust love, trust love, trust God, that love is everywhere, that we are here to be the perfect givers of love and receivers of love, and love will have the final word. Trust love, trust love, trust God, that love is everywhere, that we are here to be the perfect givers of love, receivers of love, and love will have the final word. No one ever loses when one trusts love, for love is something that will not ever fail. Love is the essence of the Spirit that is known by always giving. Love always sees the truth beyond the appearance that is showing. Love judges not, love renews. Yes, love renews. Love is a healer. Yes, love loves to love. Love loves to love. It will keep on being love. It will keep on bringing love. This is its holy way. So trust love and lean on love. Trust God, that love is everywhere, that we are here to be the perfect givers of love and receivers of love, and love will have the final word. We are here to be the perfect givers of love and receivers of love, and love will have the final word. Love will have the final word.
Beautiful. Julie, thank you. Thank you. That was amazing. Just amazing. Okay. A little verklempt here. So, it's time for our offering. Let's just take a moment to feel gratitude for the spiritual food that we've received today, for holding each other's hands, to speaking a prayer together, to knowing that we matter and that love always wins. So take your offering in your hand and perhaps hold it over your heart. I believe in giving to that which spiritually feeds me. It has been a part of my practice for a very, very long time now. So we have our so many ways to give. So many ways to give. They're on the screen. You know what you need to do. So please repeat with me our offertory affirmation. This gift is spirit in form, circulating and blessing all it touches. Freely I give and joyfully I receive.
Long walk, isn't it? Okay. So I am just so grateful for all the abundance and the prosperity that is pouring into this beloved community, allowing us to continue to do the great work that we continue to do, and we are just so grateful. Thank you, God. Thank you, Spirit, and so it is. Thank you.
So if you're a newcomer here, we welcome you. And please stop by and say hi, get to know somebody. We're glad you're here. You belong. So I am your prayer partner today. It's not a question of do you need prayer, it's are you open to it. So I'll be open to receiving you over here in the corner. You can always do a prayer request. Where is the Ministry of Prayer box today? It's right outside the door. Practitioners will do spiritual mind treatment for your prayer requests throughout the week. You can send it, make a request online as well. We're so glad that you utilize that service. So, thank you for being here, for putting up with all the changes that we've had to do today. So please stand, and if you're willing or able to do so, and let's place your hands over your heart as we say our benediction. May we be at peace. May our hearts remain open. May we awaken to the light of our own true nature. May we be healed. May be a source of healing for all beings. Love is who we are. Love is who we are. Love is all there is.
There is a power, a presence, one life of all, and no other power can exist outside of the infinite one love. There can only be God's love. Oh yes, I know that I walk. Oh yes, I walk in the love of God. There is a wisdom, a knowing, a loving, and a truth. Whatever you need to know will come in God's way for you. Just say, until it shows, I'll pray. I won't move
amazing tech people in the back who helped us handle this service. Thank you, thank you. And now we have a special thing. Our kiddos are going to come and deliver. They looks like they have some special thing to deliver to us. Come on down, kiddos. Hello, hello. Come on. Come on, come on. Chuck, gather. I see them standing there. They got something. Okay, come on down. Let's give them a hand. Woohoo! Come on up. What did you guys make? Oh my gosh, look it. Come on up here. Lea, come on up. Oh my gosh, look at these beautiful messages. Oh my gosh. Love will lead the way. Kindness matters. Oh my God, these are amazing. You guys did a fabulous job. Let's give them a hand. Wow, love this. Wow, beautiful messages. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you.